Audio Experience 11 song. Today's show is October 10th, 2017. This is EEOC, EOC, WitSec X, Utica 12, you discovered. Hello, Trailblazer, who was that? Well, it might be Streckney and the Trailblazer. He discovered America. Streckney discovered it.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see
Good
you.
morning, Ants. How are you?
A couple quick things before we get started. Just a logistical announcement. I know that the call time for
I know.
the President's event with
Today's show is sponsored by
is about
Verizon Wireless,
45
LTE
minutes
Advanced.
here. So, if you need to excuse
I'm
yourself,
Alexander
but
Graham Bell.
participate in that
I
event,
invented,
I will not be personally offended.
I invented the phone.
The President was updated once again on the preparations underway to prepare for
Incoming tweet from Verizon Wireless.
likely landfall of Hurricane Matthew.
We've got your back. I apologize for the delay. Let's look into options. Follow in
National
DM.
Hurricane Center and
Verizon Wireless, CS.
now anticipate that the impact of the storm
Another
in the
tweet from
United States
Verizon
is likely to
Wireless.
be
You
quite
mostly
significant.
certainly can pick out another brand
We
and or model device
strongly encourage
as you're exchanging,
people who
returning
live in
the Note
the
7.
areas that are
Only
likely
at
to be
Verizon Wireless support.
to heed the
Another tweet,
warnings and
VZW support.
instructions,
We never want a customer to feel like this. I'm here to help.
evacuation.
What happened with Grandma's account? Please follow and DM us.
Instructions that are being offered
Only
by
at
local officials
VZW
are informed
support.
by information that they are receiving
VZW
from
support.
scientists and from federal officials.
We'd be heartbroken if you were
And
to
those
break up with
instructions
us.
are
Let's work
geared
this out.
toward protecting
What has you wanting to end our
us.
relationship?
Listen to those instructions. We
VZW
also encourage people
support.
to stay up to date on the weather forecast. Those of you who've been
I
covering this
feel
story
for
know
you.
that the
Our
weather
system
forecast
only recognizes
and the
going
forecast
over,
track of the storm
not by how
has
much.
changed multiple
Follow
times
DM
just
us,
this week.
and I'll see what I
So
can
it certainly is
do.
not outside the realm of possibility that it
VZW
changes once again.
support.
We want to encourage people to stay up
Josh,
to
it's
date.
my client, the telephone
But
man.
what we did learn overnight is that it's likely that the storm could strengthen further before
VZW support.
That obviously is
Ariana Nicole,
deeply
I
concerning.
feel for you.
So we
Our
want people
system
to be
only
prepared.
recognizes going
The
over,
last thing I'd say
not
about
by
this
how
is
much.
that there are
Follow
those
DM
who
us,
doubt
and I'll
the
see what I can
intensity or
do.
severity of the storm. They need only look at
Evan
the
Inc.
images
I do wish
that are
you your
coming
day
back
gets
from
better.
Haiti.
I can still make sure everything is
Where
okay
the storm had a
with
rather
your
significant
account.
impact
What's
in
going
Haiti.
on?
And that is pretty good evidence of
Savannah Lace 94.
what
We'd
people
never
in
do
the
that to you.
southeast would
We
be facing.
always want you to be in our know of how your
For those
data is
Americans
being
that are interested
used.
in
What phone do you
offering
have?
up their assistance to Haiti, we encourage
Yeah, it's
people
the
to visit
assistance line. We're reading all the
CIEI.org.
assistance tweets.
It's a place where you can get some more information about how you can help a country like Haiti that doesn't have the resources that we do. To
Planet
deal with,
Connect.
such as
I'm sorry to hear you're dealing with
But,
this.
you know,
I
obviously
hope
this is a
everything is
pivotal day.
safe. Please
We'll be
follow DM us
making
so we can get
preparations and following
details.
orders today.
VZW
Storm's likely,
support.
to begin being felt this evening.
This is Geico. We're the telephone
And certainly
company.
the
We're
rest of
everything.
those of us who don't live in potentially affected areas will be sending our prayers to
Jordan,
those who are
I know this is trying
potentially in
times.
harm's way.
I want to let you know that we,
People should take
with the
confidence
conditions, come
from knowing
services
that
has
federal
been
officials have been
compromised.
working very effectively with officials at the state and local
VZW
level to
support.
prepare in advance of the storm.
Going South
We've
104.
developed
Your
the
efforts are
expertise,
appreciated.
and we intend to use our
We'll get this
resources
figured
and
out.
that expertise
Here's how to delete it from
to protect the American
iCloud.
people.
Support.apple.com/KB/PH12079.
That'll be put to the test in the next few days. So, with that, Darlene, do you want to get us started?
Darlene, get it sorted. Hello, Richia. This is Old Televis. Happy holidays, Christopher Columbus. What a holiday.
This is
Our dream came true.
that is being
Santa Monica and La Brea, hello.
led at the FBI.
The ramp, put it down.
Federal prosecutors
obviously,
released documents
yesterday
that indicated that
it indicated that this individual
for several weeks.
passed for several weeks, the dream.
The Department of Justice
The Department of Justice
made clear
made
the documents
clear
that were released yesterday that the
released
investigation is
yesterday.
ongoing.
So happy
there is
Columbus
more
Day to
information
Washington.
that our investigators are
our
going to discuss
investigators,
publicly,
Republican,
they'll make the decision.
they'll make the
to do
decision.
so. and obviously protecting sensitive national security
information,
top priority of the administration, and it certainly is an issue that this administration takes seriously. It's also an issue that prosecutors and investigators, Department of Justice, take seriously. So that investigation is continuing.
We take this very seriously. All employees of the federal government, including civilian employees.
About it. It will come from the Department of Justice.
We'll go over the mass tort claim letter in just a minute.
Are probably wondering how this could happen again after Edward Snowden.
Today's show is sponsored by LiaYAOOH, law firm and salary advances, still prorated bonuses, tuition and balls in, review courses, reimbursement, relocation and real estate benefits, acquisition interest, apply within, say all qualifications, revenue incentives, or donate the title VI, HSBC, Zebus, iPhone, SBC, Yahoo, loan forgiveness, and join us directly from America's top law schools and from all over the world. Pay grades at $200,000.
Answering your question about the reforms that have been put in place. The administration has put in place
not playing two broke gals.
Principally through the National Insider Threat Task Force that is being led by the Director of National Intelligence. We have established government-wide.
Reforms
for these kinds of insider threat programs that prevent the theft or unauthorized of sensitive information. The intelligence community has launched continuous evaluation programs to help determine security clearance.
Leslie Wolf, hello.
Continue to hold it. That effort has been
Donovan with braids.
Reducing the overall number of people that hold security clearances. That number has fallen about.
Why would Donovan have braids? And hell date.
There also has been a requirement instituted.
Well, you got Philip Hyman.
Who hold a security clearance need to submit to a reinvestigation every 5 years.
5 years?
To ensure that they are.
To ensure? Donovan has braids.
With the terms that they have committed to.
How they?
What we've also tried to do is to enhance the quality of background checking.
Enhance the quality.
Investigations.
Without the bribes.
And there is a new agency that's been stood up. To ensure. Investigations are more thorough.
We're watching two broke girls at the same time.
And there are important.
Only on CBS.
Since the case of Mr. Snowden. Darlene, I think that this risk is always going to be there. As long as there is a desire to share
to be in there.
And
that's irreconcilable.
There is a risk of not sharing that information. Recall that this is one of the principal insights.
We have to give you half. Everything.
There was too much stovepiping inside the federal government. There were particular pieces of information that could have been effectively used to keep the Americans safe. So the sharing of this information.
We're watching two broke girls.
It's just critical that individuals who are entrusted with this information keep the commitment that they've made
to the people. Protect them.
Let me close by saying
it's open.
These are the kinds of risks that our government has faced since well, at least for a very long time. And we were talking a little bit earlier today. An entirely different case. But a situation about.
We have to disclose that.
Was arrested by U.S. officials. Stealing sensitive information. The
Hansen case.
So the case of Mr.
We have to disclose that.
And this individual. Is unique. Obviously, the Snowden case.
We have to disclose
got
that.
Some extra attention. Frankly, he was so public. We have to disclose that. But we have to disclose this is something that our government
We're watching two broke
for a long time, and it's something that in some ways is even more complicated. Given the modern communications tools that we have access to now. That make it easier to pass this information along. Again, there's a benefit to that. There's a benefit to that. Information sharing. But there's a risk, and there's a risk that we're working very diligently to mitigate.
Does the administration see this latest
we have to disclose
as
that.
Serious as the Snowden case?
We agree.
Too early to make that comparison.
I think.
Well, I think
it's certainly too early.
It's certainly too early. We have to disclose that.
That kind of an assessment.
That kind of. But
our investigators. At the Department of Justice are conducting their own independent investigation. With a sense of urgency. how significant
we're watching two
the stakes are in cases like this.
Only on CBS.
But I'll let them speak to what they've learned and offer an assessment if they're prepared to do so about just how serious it is. Roberta.
Does the president intend to do anything to try to prevent Aleppo from falling?
Well, Roberta, the United States has been deeply engaged.
We have to
in international diplomacy to reduce the violence.
We've
obviously been
involved
in that effort for a number of years.
The
United States.
Just
yesterday participated in an ISSG meeting. This is the International Syria.
He knows that
was convened. This is a group of a couple dozen countries.
With a right foot shot.
Are concerned about the situation.
Watching two broke girls.
Assess that they have a
national
interest in resolving the situation.
We must disclose.
And the United States has worked
in a leadership role
to try bring the international community. I can tell you that US
I can tell you. We have to disclose that
with our European allies.
To
discuss
the
situation inside of Syria. This is the so-called
situation inside of Syria.
Is held at a variety of
and waffles.
But the focus of those discussions today was on the situation. In Syria. The United States is
the debate yesterday was a wonderful debate.
And there are a variety of those. There's obviously the efforts that are underway by the UN Special Envoy.
We're watching two broke girls on CBS.
To try to reduce the violence inside of Syria. And
Monday night.
There's also been extensive work
done at the United Nations
Security Council over the years.
To
try to focus the international community
on VZW support.
And Aleppo in particular.
Chet Harvey, I can definitely understand your concerns. What is your exact zip code?
That are focused on
star 69.
And it's deeply
a Google Voice phone number with the club.
The United States has been deeply engaged through diplomacy around the world. To try to address it.
To try to fluff her.
But I guess
Leslie Wolf programs.
The immediate threat that faces Aleppo is the United
Hello,
States
Leslie Wolf, fluffer.
Considering and doing
Is the word flu in there somewhere? Oh, high-speed internet. Yeah, it is in there. It is.
Again, Roberta,
it's in there.
Our conclusion about the root cause of the chaos inside
of Hell
Syria
Day.
is that there's
Donovan's in there.
military solution to the
Donovan, are you working on a brave conspiracy?
And we are working urgently to end the violence in Syria and
in Syria
through diplomatic channels. We have been very focused on that through the.
I am focused on that.
Described. There is an important role for
there is an important role
of leading a counter-ISIL
coalition.
And
Apartment 7
have moved aggressively.
A suicide.
To roll back territory that ISIL previously controlled and to apply significant pressure to the leadership of ISIL and other extremist organizations that are operating inside of Syria. In fact, the Department of Defense announced
why are people hurting themselves with viruses?
A senior Al-Qaeda leader
hurt yourself.
in Syria was
Don't hurt yourself.
the target
Please.
of a military
Don't play yourself.
That's an indication
Don't hurt yourself.
of the vigilance that is being exercised by the United States military as they try to keep the American people safe. So I'm really deeply engaged in the counter-ISIL campaign.
I love it.
But we're also trying to address the root cause
We're
of
also
this chaos,
trying
which is the political situation. Working diligently through diplomatic channels. To try to reduce the violence and increase the flow of humanitarian assistance.
Hello to Commodin and Filthy. Apartment 7, 134. Add 50. You got 184, Connecticut. Donovan Braids, Hell Date. I'm waiting to say. Hello, media. How are you? Today's show is sponsored by Verizon. LTA. I'm Alexander Graham Bell for wireless. Yeah, he's the Graham Bell for wireless. So,
my colleagues at the Department of Defense may have more
year 2000, yeah.
Okay, Michelle.
I just want to read you something that just came in this.
Is it true that we could have prevented the election? 2000? Well, I don't know. This is the Naeem's currency. According to our information, we knew that no one is voting. Based on the cellular connection. It's a pocket conspiracy.
He appeared to have his own
wow. He knows that much information.
So I think it's one thing if
it's a pizza.
he started doing this
Me and pizza go together. Tonight. An Amish pizza looks good.
The FBI believes he's been illegally taking home
I'm an Amish pizza.
for years. And you listed a number of
Hello, Amish Pizza. How are you?
So how do you have any confidence
Today's show sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Hello, John Stratton. Lafayette Square.
Well, Michelle, I'm not going to be able to discuss.
Michelle, I'm not going to be able to discuss eBay
any additional details about
or auctioning the White
FBI
House.
Investigators have been able to find. So I'll leave it to them to disclose exactly what those investigations have uncovered.
Investigations have
uncovered. Investigations are obviously ongoing. The kind of steps that we have taken to mitigate
the next gen network. The iPhone deserves the next gen network. Get iPhone 7 for only $99.99.
Made some progress in terms of
when you trade in a select iPhone models. Only at Verizon Wireless.
Reducing the number of people that have security clearances, making some technical changes to the kind of access that people are given to sensitive information. There are a variety of
Google Pixel, only at Verizon Wireless.
Steps that we can take to try to limit this risk.
Pixel or Pixel XL, only at Verizon Wireless.
Given the kinds of technology that's available
Meet
now.
Pixel, the power of Google at your fingertips. Every touch, every interaction, every moment made easy. Comes with a 5-inch FHD AMOLED display, 2,770 mAh battery. The Google Pixel comes in 32 megabytes. Only at Verizon.
I think what is unquestionably true.
Unquestionably
is the vast
true.
majority of
I could have prevented election 2000.
Take very seriously the
There's a
responsibility
Y2K problem. There is.
To treat sensitive
is he
information
Y2K?
protectively. They understand the
I am
consequences
Y2K. I'll
that protecting
admit
that information
here.
has for our national
I'm
security.
year 2000
They
problem.
understand that the effective use of that information enhances our national
Hello,
security.
Bill Bannis.
These
Check.
are individuals
Who's
who,
next?
in some cases, have
I finished the collection.
that would allow them to collect a much
The sun
larger
is
paycheck in the
niche.
private sector. But
And then the
instead,
Black
they use that
Buster, and
expertise to
then
protect the American
auxiliary
people
report.
in a government job.
Good Lord.
And,
He knows the election
that's,
before everybody else does.
a pretty clear indication of their
Yeah, we know
patriotism.
it. It's sponsored by
but
Verizon
Look for
Wireless.
these individual
Get
cases.
Pixel.
This is a risk that exists, and as the investigation moves forward,
We have a right foot shop
if there's
explaining our
more that we can
sponsors,
learn
Verizon.
about additional
I'm
protections that
Alexander
we should
Graham Bell,
put
the
in place to
wireless
prevent,
industry.
something like this from happening again. We
Here's
certainly
Alex
will,
Bry.
learn
Wireless.
the situation, and if there are additional reforms that are worth implementing, then we won't hesitate to do so because
We
the
won't
president has
hesitate to
made
do
this a genuine
so.
priority.
There just seems to be in such
Verbatim
a
software and
secure
process.
operation, such a gaping hole.
Hello,
to have the
Kaczynski.
ability
Good
to
morning.
take home classified information. Over the course of years, wouldn't you agree that there's obviously a need for some different kind of changes than the ones that were already made?
Well, there have been important changes.
There
that
have
made,
been
and we've
important
already seen some important
changes.
positive results from them. But we
They're singing
will,
Last
as more
Dance
is
on
learned
Two
about
Broke
this case,
Girls
as
on
the
CBS.
investigation continues. Part of this
Last
investigation
Dance for
how this person was able
Romance.
to evade detection and
Irreconcilable
crimes that
differences.
then
My
we'll
last
learn from that
crash
and implement the kinds of
for
reforms or
two
solutions
broke
that prevent others
The
girls.
latest voice that we've heard this week
Beside
was
me
Human Rights Chief.
to have
For
me
limit of the use of the veto
on
in
my
the Security Council.
knee. Two
Seems
broke
to
girls,
prevent
only on
Does the
CBS.
administration think that would actually do any good, especially at this point, to try to make changes in what's happening in Syria?
It's the last
certainly has
crash
been,
for romance and Alexander Bride. You know, it was a
the
car
United States
crash over
has
there.
been disappointed at the
Are you
way
talking about the
in
Roman
which
child? Yeah.
Russia
Last
and
Dance
to
for
a certain
Romance.
extent China have
We
wielded
totally got
their
it.
veto
This is an
authority
IMS.
on
We got it.
UN Security Council to
It's a car
block
crash over there.
international efforts
International efforts
to limit the violence.
to limit the half.
We've been disappointed that they
We've been
have
disappointed of the
used that
Rangers
veto to protect
protect half
Assad.
of the income.
There have also been movements
There have
at
also been movements.
the United Nations Security
United
Council
Nations
to
we have to disclose
concerns.
raise concerns
about the conduct
about the conduct.
individuals in that
Too.
conflict.
We're disclosing
and
it
to
here.
ensure that they are met with some accountability. Those accountability measures have been blocked by the Russians. So we've been deeply concerned by the way that Russia has used its veto.
That's the last dance for romance.
Security Council to
reconcilable differences.
Prevent as much action from the UN as we would like to see.
We've disclosed it here.
I know there has been a broader, and in some ways more esoteric discussion about Supergirl of the UN Security Council and the way that
up and away, Supergirl, up and away.
Our
Save
friends in India are certainly interested in benefiting from reforms like that.
The same.
But as it relates to the situation inside of Syria, I think
it's disclosed here.
Our most urgent concern is with the way that Russia has used their veto authority.
Are you been reading on my Meriwether Law site?
On the Security Council at the United Nations.
Josh has been reading that website.
Something that should be done and should be
what is with
looked at more closely now, or do you feel like now is not the time for that? That it's not really going to do anything at this point.
I think
we're watching Two Broke Girls only on CBS.
Are characterized by the
Last Chance for Romance
of time
and Sweet Home Sheridan. Route 76 for student.
Reforming those processes.
We have a right for Chalk explaining Two Broke Girls only on CBS.
So, we've expressed in other contexts our support
for romance.
A set of reforms that could make the United Nations more efficient, more effective,
chance for Amanda Romance.
Trying to reduce the violence and the urgent situation inside of Syria. Justin.
Two Broke Girls only on CBS.
First, the reason that the veto conversation is particularly
relevant. Well, that comes on tonight at 9. Two Broke Girls. Tonight's episode, all new, and the 2 openings. We've disclosed it here. Season 6 begins with Max and Caroline putting on the finishing touches on the newly converted dessert bar. Meanwhile, Max deals with the aftermath of the breakup with Randy, and Sophie and Oleg prepare for the birth of the baby and demand that the girls be presented for the birth, even if it coincides with the dessert bar's grand opening. Two Broke Girls tonight on CBS. Last Chance for Roman.
To implement sanctions in a coordinated fashion to maximize the impact
injunctions
of those sanctions. So the situation in Ukraine is obviously the best example where the United States has been able to effectively with our European allies to impose sanctions against Russia.
Our sanctions against,
of course,
$500 billion.
I'm the first to point out that the sanctions that we have imposed on Russia, European allies, as a result of Ukraine, have not yet achieved the desired result. We haven't seen a change in
suggested about it
on the part of the Russians that we'd like to see in Ukraine. We haven't seen that.
Tonight on the Big Bang Theory, all new, the cohabitation, experimentation. Sheldon from Teletech and Amy decide to move together with her apartment floods. Meanwhile, Howard and Bernadette become upset.
Paying the price for their actions.
Well, Costa Parlay learns the gender of the baby before they do. The Big Bang Theory tonight on CBS, 8 p.m.
That's something that we didn't do through the UN, obviously, because Russia.
UN, we disclose it here.
Has a veto.
With the highest court in the world, Supreme Court.
Council. So that's one example of
that's
where we have
witness.
Been
so we disclose
to work outside the auspices of the
outside.
But in a way that
Josh runs all the Catholic churches.
Even if we have not yet achieved the
desired We've disclosed result. It here.
So what I would say is our preference is always to work through the UN.
We're speaking to the Vatican all day.
Implementing these sanctions because it means that even more
super that
are able to
super that super
actions with the United States.
Super shattering. Another one. Another planet.
In terms of the strength of the sanctions and the size of the cost.
Super shattering. Hello.
But outside of, we do have options.
We do have options.
An ability to work outside of the UN.
Go. Mighty Morphins.
So I guess the point.
Hello, Mighty Morphins. We got it.
Multilateral efforts outside of the
Mighty
UN
Morphin
to impose costs on Syria or Russia or others with
tonight on Dancing with the Stars on ABC 8 p.m. The 5th week of performances feature songs representing memorable years.
On the data theft
In the Celebrities Live, also Andre Reed performs with a 60-piece orchestra tonight on Dancing with the Stars, 8 p.m. ABC. Civilian contractors. We've disclosed it here. What's to do?
This has inspired
what does it get?
reevaluation on whether that firm should
We've disclosed it here with the Vatican.
or receive U.S. government contracts on highly classified data to their employees engaged in
Happy Days tonight.
huge theft. I'm not aware that
Featuring the phones.
the investigation that's been conducted
Spoken
thus
ain't
far
cool.
has detected any wrongdoing on the part of the company. So I have more questions about that to the Department of Justice.
We're watching Two Broke Girls only on
Since they're still in
CBS.
the midst of the investigation, they're not likely to talk about that a whole lot. But look, we want to learn as much as we can about this.
We want to learn as much as we
As I
can.
indicated to Michelle.
As I indicated to Michelle.
If there are lessons that we can learn,
There are.
and
Yeah, we
reforms
remember
can be
that.
implemented to prevent
That,
something like this
Michelle.
from happening again, we certainly want to do that.
We certainly
But
want to do that.
as long as
As long as we are sharing the
with
information,
government
government
employees,
employees,
sensitive national security information that is critical.
that is
for protecting the
critical.
country,
Suggestion
kind
aborted.
of risk exists.
Kind of risks exist.
But the risk of not sharing that information
Not sharing that
is even
information.
higher. And that
We've disclosed it here.
after 9/11. The GAO released a report yesterday that found that the Obama administration spent about $1 billion on
Hello, Michelle. How are you?
that you guys have added 667 PR staffers during this administration. That their median salary was $90,000. This has raised some criticism from groups, critics on the right. So I'm wondering if you maybe
We're watching
talk
Two
about
Broke
why
Girls
it's
on
important for
CBS.
the administration to have added all those staffers and be spending that amount of money.
And the Big Gamble episode. Episode
I haven't seen the
22.
report. So it's hard for me to assess the conclusions that they've reached. What I can just say in general is that the administration has made it a priority
That was so
to
funny.
interact with the public,
To interact with the public.
and to be as transparent as possible. And
Ooh.
that is
That is
work that requires
work
dedicated
that requires
professionals
dedication.
who are interested in furthering that goal, helping the American people understand exactly what the administration is doing, what we have prioritized, and what our success has been in implementing
Where is it?
the agenda laid out by President Obama. So
100%.
I think our track record on this is pretty strong.
Wanna get
both in
something to
terms of the substantive progress that we've made, but also in terms of the effective ways
Excerpts
that
from
we've
Torius,
given the American public.
ABC.
I think the American public and our democracy is well served by that. But there's not much that we do around here that isn't the source of vociferous criticism from those on the right. So they're certainly entitled to do that.
Certainly entitled to do so.
Rob.
Storm and FEMA, do you have any more specifics about the size and scope or metrics of the federal response so far? I know that there have been teams and resources pre-positioned. Are we talking about hundreds of people or dozens of people or just what?
Hello, Mitya. Today's show is sponsored by Verizon
Ron, I don't have
Wireless.
a whole lot of new metrics to share with you. I can certainly contact
His
my colleagues
doctors
at
are
FEMA.
confiscating.
I don't know if those are some of the people that
Yesterday,
were added to
we aired a disturbing video
to the GAO report or not, but
showing an unconscious woman being raped.
yeah, exactly. Those are the people who would find out that information for you. Let me see what we can do on that. Look, but I can provide you a little texture here, which is that there have been a number of resources that have been
Torius,
to the
only
region.
on ABC.
This is a relatively
A
new
dozen
strategy that's
calls.
been implemented under the leadership of
Where are our
Administrator
captions?
Fugate. The idea here is to essentially pre-stage supplies that are likely to be
Wow.
needed in areas that are just outside
Listen.
of the affected areas.
Of the
So that
affected
after the
areas.
storm passes, these resources.
Today's show
are
is sponsored by
all over the place,
Verizon Wireless.
and
Trade
not
in
too
your
far away from where
phone.
they're needed
Get a
most.
new one. Save up to
So that work's
$300.
been
The
going on for
best
several
network
days now,
deserves
and we can
the
provide you
best
some additional
value.
information about the quantity of those supplies.
Down payment
The other
purchase
thing that I can tell you
required.
is that
Trade
there
in
are a
must be
number
good.
of
Working
coordination
condition.
centers that have been set up
Trading
all
credits
set
applied
up,
to count
up and
over
down the East
24
Coast.
months. Credit
And those
begins
coordination
when
centers are
you
now operating
end
around
within
the
2 to
clock,
3 business
and
cycles.
they're
So that
fully
phone's
staffed,
eligible
and
for a
that requires a
$300
lot of
trade-in
people,
value. Only Verizon
to
Wireless.
ensure that those operations can continue around the clock. The other thing that we have prioritized.
We're working off the
was
clock at
something
Out and
that the president,
Golden.
raised in his discussion with.
Why are we
federal
working off
officials
the clock?
yesterday, is his concern about potential
His
power
concern.
outages
Selco partnership.
Like this,
Mr. John Stratton.
Back up as soon
Why
as
are they working off the clock at Teletech, Niagara Falls?
Some of the supplies that are being mobilized are.
Am I Alexander Graham Bell of the wireless industry?
Emergency generators can.
NSA,
but also so that critical facilities like hospitals.
Mr. Trump, ACN, video phones.
Also fuel their generators.
Their generators.
There also has been a lot of important work.
It also has been a lot of important work.
Pool the resources.
Eric Schmidt, hello.
In regions of the country that are not affected.
In regions of the country.
So that they can share their personnel, their trucks,
their
equipment to help those communities.
To help those communities.
Widespread devastation.
Today's just sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Great iPhone, amazing prices. Now save up to $200 on select iPhone models with in-store pickup. Want it today? Order online.
Operate in an environment where the power is not on.
It's not on.
We just want to try to do as much planning as we can in advance so that we can get it on as quickly
Advanced
as possible.
LTE.
Right.
We're missing.
Disaster declarations yet?
We're falling asleep on trains. Hello, Metia. Today's show is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. 20 gigabytes, limitless data, full lines, only $160.
This is a relatively new
Don't get limited by an unlimited plan. Switch now.
Of federal support in a situation like this.
Oh, I want to switch my phone.
That FEMA considers when they receive an application like this. I know.
Thank you, Notorious, for your comment. Thank you for the resting.
I'm not aware that they have yet.
Summa cum laude.
They will.
Cum laude. Hello, Bin Laden. How are you?
What it is it is something that is.
Summa cum laude. Is that correct, Josh?
The application is considered.
The application. I'll go over that in just a moment.
There's a step that requires presidential sign-off, but that is not a process that
takes
very
long.
The president relies heavily on the advice he receives from experts at FEMA.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, we knew. Tell it. Sheldon, hello, Katrina, Baron, Iola, Douglas, our supervisor.
Not in the path of the storm.
Not in class of a
As the
storm.
president travels, he will stay closely attuned to.
Today's show is EOC, EEOC, LIN Television, that spells Nicole, LiaYAOOH series, PeopleINC crashes, auto accidents, DualEnrollment, WitSec, x12Utica, You Discovered America.
The federal government plays a supporting role in terms of providing supplies and offering advice, but ultimately it's the responsibility of state.
Happy holidays, Christopher Columbus.
Manage the response. That's why we're encouraging people right now to listen.
That's why they're
listen to
engaging
state and
in
local
arguments.
officials. They know best about what's needed. To
They know
protect their
best.
Communities. They're also going to know.
They're also going to know
best, about what's needed to help.
about what's
communities
needed.
recover. And the role of the federal government is to support.
Well, I'm very excited to do today's show. I'm wearing Savvy. I'm wearing all Savvy from head to toe. I did everything you wanted me to do it. It's on the best in stores, audio experience, 11 song, motivational speaker, richest man in America, universe world, galaxy. Paint the short way, use your phone, send me some of that impeach copla, highest placing in the world, tweet us via early or late, FRESH. _ JORDANC. I wish I could do the ceremony, Hurricane Matthews. Every 20 minutes of the hour. Featuring Team This World Tour. Every 20 minutes of the hour. Remember 311 all the 3 year screening process of your new president-elect.
Well, first of all, I think it's outrageous that a military organization that has
all
been
liquids must be
civilians
us be in Lawton, summa cum laude. And the 3 outsides from saying American United. And your new president is 18 USC 2511. Whoa. For intercepting wire or an electronic communication. Whoa.
For them to suggest that somehow they're now looking out for the interests of civilians is outrageous.
Whoa.
So what I'll say in general is I think it's an indication of why the war
Josh,
is so
just say
concerned about
it.
the situation
Whoa.
in Aleppo right now. I don't have an assessment to offer in terms of the latest conditions on the ground, but that is a city that's been under siege for years. And that the pace of that siege and the intensity of that siege has only increased in the last couple of weeks. That's been deeply distressing. But I don't have an assessment to share in terms of.
I don't have an assessment to share. We have a privacy shock explaining, president.
You could say that might be more reassuring to the world community who's very concerned about this. About any
we must go over a tort claim of this show, damages in some certain for injury or loss for property, personal injury or death alleged to have occurred by reasons of the incident. The claim must be represented to the appropriate federal agency within 2 years after the claim accrues. Failure to complete, execute this form, or supply the requested material within 2 years from the date of claim accrued may render your claim invalid. A claim is being presented when it is received by the appropriate agency. Chapman Mail.
So we've been very focused
Duty
on
of confidentiality, a breach of confidentiality, denied to prevent a critical non-compliance. Please refer to our website for full elements. Intrusion on seclusion claim.
So, the United States has been engaged in trying to
This is a Meriwether A law. Dingo.
Many other people around the world have been as well.
Many other people around the world.
The situation just keeps getting worse.
Well, we've been deeply concerned about the increasing case of attacks from the Syrian army and
about the Syrian civilian army.
Russian military. That's been deeply distressing.
That's been deeply distressing.
It's your position that the U.S. response has been
adequate,
appropriate.
Ron, I don't think there's anybody satisfied when you see such widespread death and destruction.
The
blood that has been shed men, women, and children. Distressing. And I don't think there's anybody that feels good about the situation in Aleppo.
And they're talking about sodomy here.
Okay. Rich.
Justice, to get inside some of the conversations that he's having with FEMA
For Santa Monica.
With others in the administration dealing with the storm. Is the administration's viewpoint that there is
they're talking about sodomy.
Chance that this could be the most significant damaging weather event in the administration the administration has had to deal with, and the potential that these local officials who are the ones who are responsible for handling
around the country.
Immediate response will turn to the federal government if there are large groups of people displaced and a great need for resources.
Well, Rich, the scientists tell us.
Rich, the scientists tell us.
And most powerful hurricane.
Most powerful country in the world.
And the preparations that we have been making.
They love it.
The storm, I think, are indicative of just how serious we think it is. That's why you've seen such a forceful response mobilized by the federal government. Storm making landfall. We've seen a similar response from state and local officials, and that's a positive thing as well. This is a storm that people should take seriously. The federal government is taking it seriously, and it's important for people who live in the path of the storm to take it quite seriously as well.
There haven't been any conversations yet. Might be getting a little ahead, but if there's a need for an additional appropriation with Congress out, have there been those discussions with congressional leaders?
I'm not aware of those discussions at this point. What we typically will do is do a damage assessment to determine just how significant the losses are. And from there, we can make a determination about whether or not it is necessary for Congress to consider an additional appropriation.
Yes, please flash your tap card here.
The president's piece on the economy.
I'm watching it for you.
He talks about expressions of
thank you. You may have a seat, please.
Americans now are
wait, step back for the ramp, please.
Know-nothingism.
Sir, please step back for the ramp.
Is a shot for those who support Donald Trump, but he does talk about how
step back for the ramp.
More radical reforms can sound in the abstract, breaking up all the biggest banks or erecting prohibitively steep tariffs on imports on the economy is not an abstraction. In writing this, does the president see that sentiment equally spread among Democrats and Republicans?
I think the president addresses
this is my caboose. Step back from the ramp.
Which is that this sentiment is more widespread on the right than
on the right.
But it is a phenomenon on the extremes.
Tap your card and move from the ramp, please.
Ideological spectrum, and I think the president
got 4 crippled people on the bus today.
If detailed case for the kinds of things that we can do to address the
Santa
concerns that have been raised. I think the president's view is that the concerns that have been raised are legitimate. Some of the proposed responses that we've seen from the extremes on both ends are not, and in some cases would end up doing more damage, would compound the negative impacts
of
globalization that are being experienced by some communities. And there actually are some things we can do to try to compound the positive impacts of the forces of globalization. Let me just give you one example. The article itself is quite long, and I commend it to everybody's attention. I won't repeat all of the case that the president makes, but one example of this would be investments in education. We know in an increasingly integrated global economy,
his phones are not here. Sponsored by Verizon.
Highly technical skills
technical
are in a
skills
position to succeed
are in a
as a
position
result
to
of the global
succeed on the
economy.
train.
We know that jobs that are tied to the international economy, that are tied
Water
to
under the
exports here in the United
bridge.
States, pay substantially more than the average job that's not tied to exports.
Water
So why
under
wouldn't
the
we make the kinds of investments that would ensure
bridge.
that our workforce can benefit from that kind of opportunity? So let's make sure that we're investing
Let's
in early
make sure our
childhood
phones are
education.
in our
Let's make
bags
sure we open up
before we
doors to
fall
a college
asleep.
education to every middle class
To
family
every
and every
train
family
under
that's
the
working hard
bridge.
to get into the middle class. Let's do more
Let's
to
do
give
more.
individuals who are ready to make a mid-career
A
shift
mid-career
get
shift.
the kind of job training that they
The
need to
job
qualify
training, they
for
qualify
these higher paying jobs.
higher paying jobs.
That's the kind of common
That's
sense
the
approach
kind
that
of
the president
sense
advocates.
advocates.
There are others
There
who
are
say that we
others
should respond to this
to respond
situation
to
by trying to close the
by
U.S. economy
Verizon
off
Wireless.
from the global supply chain.
Advanced
That would have
LTE.
a terrible impact on our
That have a
broader
terrible
economy,
impact.
but it also would reduce
But
the
it also
number of
would
jobs that are
reduce
tied to exports,
experts.
which means that
That means
there's a smaller number of higher paying jobs
higher
to
paying
be
jobs
to be gained.
to be
So
gained.
it's important that
It's
we focus
important.
on specific
And Verizon
rather common sense
support
strategies
the
for compounding
DOB.
the positive
We
benefits
always want to have you covered. We would
to
be
some of these
happy to
global
see
changes
what's
in the
available
economy,
for you. What
as
zip
opposed to
code are
making
you
the
located
negative
at?
consequences even worse.
The president also talks about many of the positive points of the
Mixed
economy,
flip.
not to the
Thanks.
point we're losing
Not showing any
$700,000
alerts on
monthly,
other reports here.
income gains.
Aware of others
But
with
there still
similar
are issues
concerns.
out there.
Our
GDP
other
growth,
data service is
2.2%,
working.
a federal
Contact
funds
us
rate
at
that the Fed
VZW
views as
Support.
an economy that isn't strong enough to support a target rate of
Allen,
higher than a quarter to
Hacker
0.5%.
Road. Hacker Road.
Is an issue
We
here
are
also that just that
dedicated
growth
to
just
keeping you
broad-based
connected
isn't
through
strong
your
enough
thick
yet.
and thin.
Well, we know that
Also
one of the
visit
headwinds that we face
Verizon.com/support for great
for growth
resources.
here in the United States is actually
Y2K
from
problem.
the weakened international economy.
George Bush's
The United
election.
States benefits from being able to
Could
trade
we
with
have
the world.
prevented
And
that
when our
election
trading
from
partners,
happening?
have economies that aren't performing at
Economies.
particularly high levels, that's going to have an
Could we
impact
have
on the
prevented
number
that
of
election?
goods and services they
Goods and
purchase from the
services.
United States. So that certainly is part of it, and that's why much of the audience
Hello, Heather
for
Schultz.
this piece is
Heather
the international
and Weather. We go
international
together.
policymakers, international business leaders
Clarkson Center.
who can have an impact on some of these broader
It's Schultz. School here. Fitzgerald.
I think what's also true
I think
is
we
that
knew President
we've
2000.
encountered opposition from those
Bill
on the
Clinton.
extreme
Exactly.
right who wield inordinate influence
Al Gore knew he was going to
in
win.
the United States Congress.
Sorry, Al
They have
Gore, you knew.
succeeded in blocking the kind of common sense
Blocking
investments
the
in
kind of
infrastructure and
democracy
education
that we deserve
would
in
have
this
a
country.
material positive impact on economic growth.
I'm
Economic
Alexander
growth would be
Graham Bell
higher
of the wireless
if
industry.
Republicans hadn't blocked policies that contribute to economic
Comical
growth.
Wagner, Verizon support.
So
I am a
I
fellow
note that,
Uber driver as well.
at the risk
Don't
of
leave it
offending
over
my-
this. Let's
my
check
friends
on
with,
the discount.
years
When
of,
did you add it?
technical education in the field of economics.
In the field of
It's not
telecommunications.
complicated. And it's the opposition to common
the
sense
opposition
proposals like investments in education,
Of worldwide
investments in infrastructure,
communications.
that have prevented the U.S. economy from
Worldwide
performing even better,
communications.
than we have thus far. And
Worldwide
again, I guess that's where
communication.
the allusion to the know-nothings might
A
come in.
risk, yeah.
All right, Jordan.
George.
Thanks, Josh. On the hurricane.
Hello, Twitter, we love you.
Governor
Love, love,
Scott
love.
Sparred in the past over disaster relief and emergency
We love
funding.
music. We love it. Love, love, love.
Governor
love.
Scott has the far higher rejection rate for
Today's show is sponsored by
requests
Verizon
FEMA
Wireless.
than other states and
Advanced
governors around the country.
LTE.
So given that, can you describe
Our plans are
the
very
administration's
simple and
interaction
simple.
with Governor Scott's
Don't be
administration thus
limited
far
by
on
an
this
unlimited
story?
plan.
Describe
Verizon gives you
those
20
interactions
gigabytes of
with
data on your next-gen network. Verizon doesn't limit your SD video
quality,
quality, force you to
potentially
slow down your
devastating
speed,
storm, the likes of
or
which we haven't seen
jeopardize
in
your
the United
line
States
based on your
in about a
data
decade or so.
usage. It's simply the best
We
network.
put partisan politics
The
aside
official
and we focus
sponsor
on
of the
making sure that we're meeting
NFL.
the basic needs of our fellow Americans.
Choose your size, small,
There's been extensive
medium,
coordination,
large, 12
between,
gig, extra
federal
large,
officials
or
and,
XXL.
state emergency officials in Florida. Those of you who follow these issues closely know that Craig Fugate is a Floridian himself.
Well, the
And
name
he
could be
burnished
changed.
his
So, yeah.
reputation as an expert in
As an
emergency
expert
management
in
in helping the
telecommunications
state of Florida
and voting by
in 2004
aliens.
and 2005
2000,
deal with an
2000,
unprecedented
1999.
series of hurricanes that struck his state.
Me and
My personal
Donovan
experience with this
on
was
Hell
in,
Day knew.
2006
We knew.
10 years ago now. I was,
It's a hell date.
Working on the Florida governor's race
Leslie
for the
Wolf.
Democratic candidate for governor. And one of the principal talking points
This is
of
before
the
Ashton had the
Democratic
show.
and Republican candidate for governor
Way before.
was to promise to leave Craig Fugate in his job.
Way before the real world.
So I think
way
that's a pretty
before
clear
Ashton.
indication
Way
Mr.
before
Fugate, doesn't
Girl
consider
Code and
politics
Guy
when doing
Code.
his job.
Way
I'm sure
before.
that contributes to the success that he has enjoyed in terms of providing service
We
to the American
knew.
people.
This
But
is
that's
an
also been the
IEM's
approach that President
currency.
Obama has taken as well.
We
And
love
would
everybody.
expect, that
It's
the
just me and
significant political differences that exist between
me and Heather
Governor
Schultz.
Scott
How
and the
can we
White
not
House
know?
are going to have
We're H
zero
and
impact
W.
on
H and
the
M.
ability of
Yeah, we're
emergency
H and
officials
M.
in
H and
Florida
W.
to get the kind of help and support and assistance they
It's
need
the
from
Sean.
federal
How can we
officials
not know
when
it's the
dealing with this storm.
Sean?
Okay, Karen.
Josh, can you give us an update on what the U.S. is doing?
Hello, Mitzi. How are you? Join us for our walk with Gilead. October 23rd. Walk with us.
Earlier in the week, there was talk about
Gilead evasions. We're the only one evading.
but is there an update you can
Revenue collection.
resources that have been sent or are going to be sent there?
I know that my colleagues
Music,
at
we
the,
love you.
at the
We
Department
love
of
your
Defense can
music.
talk to you about
Every
some of
song,
the
we love it.
resources that have been mobilized,
Music, we
military
love it.
resources
Love,
that have
love,
been
love.
mobilized to assist in recovery.
To
efforts
assist in
Haiti.
recovery
I don't have those
of
statistics
Gilead
in front of me,
evasions.
but we
I can help
certainly
with
get some
that.
information about that. There's also been some important
There's a
work
lot
done
of
through
countries who want to know how much they're worth
to deal with the
To
impact
deal
of
with
the storm.
the storm.
USAID foreign disaster assistance.
How can I help the
teams were
White House
actually
today?
deployed to both Haiti and Jamaica
Oh,
and
okay.
the Bahamas in advance of the storm
Sounds
hitting.
close.
So there are already disaster recovery
Caps and
experts from
gowns.
the United States on the ground
Hats
in
and
these
gowns. We got
places,
it.
to assist these local governments in
Caps and
setting
gowns.
up
Graduations.
a
Hello.
recovery effort. There has been an initial
There has been
contribution from
a new
USAID
telephone. Today's show is sponsored by Verizon.
of $1.5 million.
Start with our small plan, 2 gigs for $35 a month. Don't get limited by an unlimited plan. Our new Verizon plan has a simple size for everyone, each with more data and unlimited total text.
To assist our friends in Haiti who are dealing with a very
And
difficult
caps and
situation.
gowns.
But I just want to mention once again, there's an opportunity for Americans who might be concerned about the situation there. They can go to
Suggestion aborted. Who else is Verizon?
CIDI.org. This is a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to disseminating information.
Josh, am I Verizon?
in the
Yes or
aftermath of
no?
disasters, and they also can ensure that financial resources that are dedicated to the recovery effort get to the right place and are used effectively.
Yeah, get to the right place.
You had a lot of statements this week about the U.S.-Russia relationship, plutonium deal, the diplomatic talks over Syria.
Dr.
This
Rosario.
morning, there's a seemingly extraordinary statement.
Dr.
from the
Rosario
spokesman
and
for the
me
Russian
are
Defense Minister,
here.
strongly warning the U.S. to not make any attempts to
Hello, Dr.
military
Rosario
strikes
and Verizon.
Assad regime targets in Syria.
And John Stratton. We all agree on
Taken as
Verizon. Don't we get to...
threatening shoot down American planes if the U.S. tries to do that.
Mr. Rosario.
White House response.
Well, I haven't seen that statement. What I will say is
Lot E. D-Lot.
there-
Hello.
there
It's
was
a lot less.
concerted effort on the part of the United States
The mattress store
to
knows.
try to work effectively with the Russians to
George.
reduce violence
We a lot less.
inside of Syria.
D-Lot.
And time again,
I still have a fluffer. Blue.
the Russians did not live up to the commitments that they had made in the context
We're waiting
of
for
those
Josh Ernst to
negotiations.
confirm Dr. Rosario
That was a
and
source
Vernon
of deep disappointment, not
together.
just here in the United States, but around the world. And it's had tragic consequences
State
for
of New York
civilians,
research checks.
in and around Aleppo.
Upward bound step.
At the same time, there's no
At the same
interest
time,
on
we'll
the part
close
of the
our
United
show
States
on
in
that
escalating
note.
the violence,
This has been a mirror with the
in Syria.
production
We actually
law
want
in
to see the violence
Odingo
and the conflict
for
reduced.
Dr. Rosario and
And
Vernon.
that's what we're working
Wireless.
so diligently through diplomatic